traffic until you restart that machine or until a long time passes, like 4 days. That's a pull process. I need an IP, I ask for an IP. But IP version 6 is not normally done in that fashion. IP version 6 is generally, addresses are distributed by router advertisement. So the router pushes out a router advertisement and says, I am the router, everybody stop what you're doing and join my network now. Everybody has to stop, make up an address, and join the network. It's a broadcast packet, although the purists will tell me there is no broadcast in IP version 6, but there is something called multicast to all nodes. So the difference between these things is theological in nature, and I don't intend to go into it. But the point is, the router sends out one packet that goes to every node, and every node now has to join the network, which doesn't seem that bad. Here's the router advertisement packet going to a multicast to all nodes address, FF02::1, and telling people what network to join. The problem is you can send out a lot of router advertisements. And when you do, the poor target joins all these networks, and that would be all right, except that Windows is extremely inefficient at doing that. So let me show you a few of these attacks. I should have some virtual machines set up. Now this is how I do it in class with my students. I use virtual machines on an isolated network. And I'll tell you a little more when I get there. So let's start with the old-fashioned attacks. Here I've got a Backtrack 5 Linux machine, and it's running as a web server. So if I go to localhost and refresh, I put up a web page here with a picture of a cat. All right, so it's handing out that glorious web page. Now, if you run this page, you can see the status of your server. And let me see if I can figure out how to turn off some junk to save some room here. Can I right-click? Let's see, view, toolbars. Ah, good. Get rid of toolbars. Come on. Use toolbars, bookmarks. There, that's getting somewhere. Okay, now, that's the server status. And down here, these are the current connections. There's one connection waiting here, and all the rest are available, of hundreds of connections available. So this server can handle hundreds of people viewing that web page. So if I go over here, and this guy views that web page, it should show up here as another connection, and so it does. Now I have a couple connections. So now let's attack this poor Linux machine from this Windows machine. We'll start with the old-fashioned stuff, the low-orbit ion cannon. Let's get these things out of my way. All right, the low-orbit ion cannon is here, the thing that anonymous people use as a shortcut to go into prison. And I'll need an IP address here. Let me join this. There we are. Okay, 192.168.1 HTTP 192.168.198.173. Hopefully I got that right. Yeah, it looks pretty good. 198.173. Okay, so this attack goes here. I need a little more room on my screen. Come on, come on. Hey. This is Lion. It lets you drag the corner from the middle now, but it doesn't seem to refresh this page in any hurry. Well, that's irritating. Turn to your computer. Well, I don't like virtual machines much, but under these conditions, I'm kind of forced to use them. Seems. Do what? Well, it won't even respond to anything I do right now. This is fairly common. I might have to restart that one. Oh, there, it finally responded, I think. There, that's good. That's right. It's just a little slow. I'm sort of getting used to this. All right, so now I have to lock on until the number appears here. Yeah. There we are. Number appears there, and now I can do different kinds of attacks here. And I would like to scroll down, but I don't see a scroll bar because I'm being hosed here. Pardon me. All right, I'll have to go to full screen. That's the only thing I can do. I make it big enough so I can see what I'm doing. All right, because the low orbit ion cannon, in addition to sending you to prison, isn't very well written. It doesn't let you see what you need to see too well. All right, so I'm going to send HTTP requests here, and I need to get to the fire button. There, I'm charging my laser. Whoever wrote there, now it should be there. It's sending stuff, numbers. Okay, it's sending complete requests back to my poor target, which is here. So my poor virtual machine here will now show that people are using up the connections. And there they are. See, it's filling up with a bunch of Cs. Now those Cs are connections at the web server. It is gradually filling up here. So it's using up all the web server can do. But what it's doing is complete connections. They form a connection, they download that little web page, and then they wait to time out. So this does fill up all the connections and make the web server unavailable, but it does it in a very weak way because each connection terminates normally and then just ends its time normally. So it only ties it up for a couple of seconds. So that's what this one does. Let me get back to my virtual machine, which is here. So, all right, and let's stop that one. That should have stopped it, and get rid of that one. Let's do the slow Loris one, which is much more powerful. And OWASP wrote a Windows version of it, which is really nice. And it's also small enough that I don't need to have such a big window for it. All right, so now I have to put that address in here, 192. Give me a break. I could get it out of here, couldn't I? Yeah, that would be fun. Copy it from there, put it in here. Okay. Now this is going to run that attack. Let me just get this back to normal. Since I'm no longer attacking it, it goes back to normal. Only one connection. There's an extra one there. I don't know what it is, but I'm not worried about it. Now I run that attack. There we go. Now if I refresh this page, you see it's filling up, and it's filling up this time with R's. Those are pending requests. Each one of those will take 400 seconds to time out by default. So you don't need to send very many of them, and it uses up all available incoming lines, and this server is toast. So that's the slow Loris attack, and the HTTP post attack is similar. So it's very powerful and very dangerous, and now it's this easy. And when you stop, it will recover. It recovers pretty fast in this case. I don't know why it's not taking 400 seconds, but maybe the default timing in Apache on Backtrack 5 is different than what I think it is. I'm not quite sure what causes that. But anyway, now that we've shown you how to kill Linux or Windows, let's go the other way with the more powerful attack. Let me clear all this stuff up and set up my poor Windows machine to show you the evil that is about to happen to it. So if I go here and do ipconfig /more or pipe_more, you'll see this machine is an ordinary Windows machine. I put on a static address of 2::2 and IP version 6. It's got a IP version 4 address and really not much else going on. Now let me bring up a task manager window because that's the interesting way to see the damage that's going to happen to this machine. Task manager shows the CPU is now at 0%. So let me shove these things over near each other and shove it over to the side. There's my Windows machine just sitting there. Now if I send it some IP version 6 packets here, I'm going to do fake router 6 first. Fake router 6. This is the THC IPv6 attack suite from Van Housen in Europe someplace. And I do that on ETH1. And I'll send it def con. I can't get an N though, but I can get that far of def con. I'm going to send that. Okay, now it's sending some packets, advertising that network. Don't need to wait any longer. All the devices on that network have been commanded to join it. And there it is. It's made an address starting defco. Now this is what's supposed to happen when you add a router in the normal course of events. I add a router, it advertises its prefix, everybody joins, and the game's over. But if I send a flood of unwanted packets at the rate of hundreds per second, ETH1, I'm going to stop it very soon. There. After each dot is 100, I've sent about 1,000. This is now at 100%, and it's just going to sit there at 100% for a long, long time. And and what's worse is well, I got this far. I was trying to make a project for my students sitting outside a coffee house. I said, well, this is fun, but the problem is it's killed it so bad that you can't see the addresses. If you run ipconfig, now if I stop it really fast, this will actually respond without waiting forever, and you can see what it's done. And that's why, hopefully, I stopped. There we are. You see, it's joined all these networks. Page after page of networks. That's what it's doing. And it's still adding more to that list at the rate of about 5 per second. So this is all right, but when I first tried it, I ran it for a while, nothing seems to happen. Hey, my Windows machine doesn't respond at all. What happened here? I said, well, this is no fun. Students don't learn anything. They can't look at the damage. So I thought, well, this is a bad project. What do I do? And then I thought, hey, wait a minute. This would kill the domain controller and the email server and everything. This is really bad. This is so bad I can't tell my students at all. I better tell Microsoft quietly. So I sent out a tweet. I mean, at first I did this, sent out a tweet saying, hey, this attack hurts Windows 7. Not surprising. And then I said, hey, you know, I need a security contact inside Windows. So EdBot and other people on my Twitter feed immediately gave me good people inside Microsoft, and they sent me to the right people, and within 2 days I had an official answer from Microsoft saying, yeah, Van Housen told us about that a year ago, and we don't care. We're not going to do anything about it for current versions of Windows. We do not care that Windows Vista, Windows 7, Windows Server 2003, Windows Server 2008, and XP are all going to die at the drop of a hat. We may put in Windows 8 or Windows 9 or something if we have nothing better to do. I said, fine. If you're going to be that way, I'll tell the whole world about it. And I gave it to my students for homework, and I said, use an isolated network. Don't kill every machine at the college, because you could kill every machine at the college, including our servers and everything else. And my students did not kill the whole college with it, which is nice of them. Therefore, I'm still working there. I'm not out on the street with a tin cup. And so, anyway, that's the power of that attack. And so let me talk a little bit about defenses. But I think before I do that, I'm going to hand it over to Matthew here. The only thing I want you to do is if you would like to try this. Now, Windows machines are vulnerable to this, and one version of BSD Unix is vulnerable to this attack. Mac OS is not. If you look at my Mac here, ifconfig, it will show, yeah, you see them here. I don't see it. Let's try Pipemore. There we are. See here, the Mac got the attack too. The Mac is the host. And as you can see, it joined some of these, those are 2001s, well, let's see. It joins, I think those are useless networks. It joined some of those useless networks, but it didn't join them all. Well, I think those might be from DEF CON. But anyway, what you see, if you expose the Mac to it, it joins about the first 10 and no more. It has the sense to ignore all router advertisements after the first 10 for some period of time, which is a pretty good defense. And that's what I think Microsoft should do in Windows, but they are not interested in my opinion. Cisco patched it, Juniper didn't. But anyway, if you have any devices to test, Ryan's going to set up a network there and kill anybody that wants to join it. And if you want to participate in this, here's how you do it. There. You join a network called Do Not Use. And it's WPA2 encrypted, and the password is Do Not Use. So if you join that network, he'll see how many people joins and then run this attack and kill you. And if it kills you, it's interesting because other devices are vulnerable besides Windows and BSD. And if you have, some people said they were going to bring interesting devices here. Any device that networks may be vulnerable to this, and I would like to know, and I'd like you to go to the question room afterwards and tell me so we can inform the vendor and get stuff patched, because I think a bunch of people are vulnerable to this and they don't know. But anyway, let me hand it over to you. You can tell them your story about LowSec. And then I'll come back and talk about defenses if we have time left. Your stuff should be on the desktop. Let me dig down to it.
Hey, Sam?
Yeah?
Is it do not use or do not connect?
Is it do not use or do not connect, Ryan? Do not connect. Oh, do not connect. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, so its name is do not connect and the key is do not connect. Okay.
Thanks, Sam. Sam is the only person that I know who can make running a DDoS attack seem charming. So my name is Matthew Prince, and I know Sam. We both live in San Francisco, and we both got sort of dragged into the Lowell security kerfuffle reluctantly. And so I'm going to tell you the story of how I got dragged into it and talk to you about some of the DDoS attacks that we saw during the 23 days that they were active, and then what we did to stop them. So on June 2nd, at about 4:54 p.m. Greenwich Mean